Hey guys, welcome back. Today's day 9 and today we're going to learn how to translate expressions and equations. So we're going to first start by going over the warm-up. So if you were absent today, please try to download and try the warm-up before beginning this video, or you can pause it right now. Alright, so going over the warm-up, for solving equations we learned the acronym DCMAM to help us remember the steps. So we start out and we distribute. So we've got 13x minus 5x plus 20 equals 8x plus 5. So at this point you should be pretty good at distributing. So notice I took the negative, multiplied negative 5 times x, that's how I got the negative 5x, and the negative 5 times negative 4, that's how I got the 20. We then want to combine like terms. Now remember, with combining like terms, you never cross the equal sign. So we're going to combine like terms on the left side of the equal sign, and we get 8x plus 20 is equal to 8x plus 5. All right, so now we need to move the variable to one side because you need the variable on one side to be able to solve for it. So we're going to subtract 8x from the right, and we're going to do the same thing to the left. But in this example, notice the 8x's cancel out. So you're left with 20 equals 5. All right, so this 20 is left, the 5 is equal, and the 5 is left. But we know that 20 is not equal to 5. So this is a false situation. So we know there's no solution. And again, we learned this in our last class, so you could go back and you could look at 8a in your notes to see how to do that. Okay, so there's no solution. All right, whereas in example number 2, when we go back and we distribute, we've got 8x minus 32 equals 8x minus 32. And if you notice, when we subtract our 8x from both sides, again, they both cancel out. Only in this case, we're left with negative 32 equals negative 32. And that's a true statement. So our solution is all real numbers. It means that any number would work there, all real numbers. And we use the symbol, it looks like this. Okay, so we can say either answer, all real numbers or all real numbers like that. Okay, so then also last class we learned how to solve proportions, and we learned that we would use cross products to do that. So pick another color here. All right, so when we're using cross products, we have to be careful and make sure that if we have more than one term in the numerator or denominator, we need to put it in parentheses. So when we use our cross products, we'll take 4 times x minus 6 and we'll set it equal to 8 times x plus 2. All right, and again, now we just go back to our DCMAM. We distribute 4x minus 24 equals 8x plus 16. We'll subtract 8x from both sides. Okay, 4x minus 8x is negative 4x. And then we've got a minus 24. We fix that. 4x minus 24 is then equal to 16. And then we're going to add the 24 to both sides. When we do that, we get negative 4x is equal to 40. Okay, divide by negative 4. And we are running out of space here, but our x is going to be equal to negative 10. Okay, so that's how we would do that. Again, we distribute, we subtract on both sides, then we subtract the 8x. We end up with negative 4x minus 24. We add the 24 to both sides and solve for x. Okay, so you can go through your homework that you did, which was 8b. The key is in Schoology, so I suggest that you go back carefully and go through each problem. Okay, but today's notes were on day 9. So today we're going to learn how to translate expressions and equations. So basically we're going to be focusing on word problems. An equation is a mathematical sentence that represents two expressions that are equal to each other. Okay, that's all an equation is. On either side of the equal sign you have an expression. We're setting them equal to each other. When you see the word quantity, okay, you must use parentheses. When defining a variable, you must create what's called a let statement. We're going to be doing this all year. Okay, and this is really going to help you when you're trying to figure out a word problem. So to translate in the following and solve, it almost sounds like a little riddle. 2 times the quantity 6 less than a number is 24. What is the number? Okay, we always start out and we figure out, well, what are we looking for? All right, and let's let that be our let statement. Let n be the number. We don't know what the number is. Okay, so there's our variable. And right now in algebra, we're never going to have more than one variable in our equations. Okay, so don't try to have multiple variables. All right, so 2 times the quantity. So I know this is 2 times this multiplication. Quantity says we're going to use parentheses. 6 less than a number. Well, we know that our number is n, but 6 less than, remember that keyword then means the 6 comes after. So this is going to be n minus 6. And then is our equal 24. So if we write the equation, we would have 2 times n minus 6 equals 24. All right. We then follow DC Mam. So the hard part is getting it into the equation. Now we can solve the equation. We should be getting pretty good at that. All right, I'll add my 12 to both sides. So my 2n is equal to 36. And then I divide by 2. My n is 18. So that number is 18. Okay, we'll just circle 18. Always go back to the question and make sure you're answering it. All right, so we're going to go through some examples. Some you may want to go slower, pause it, go back, make sure you understand. But I'm going to just kind of go through them all. All right, so the first one says Marie bought 12 pieces of fruit, of which there were X apples, 5 fewer oranges than apples, and 1 pineapple. How many apples and oranges did Marie buy? Well, in this example, they're saying there's X apples. So that's actually our let statement. Let's let X be the apples. Okay. Notice we've got 5 fewer oranges than apples. That means if we took apples and we subtracted 5, that's how many oranges we would have. And we have just 1 pineapple. So 1 is our pineapple. That's not a variable, it's a constant. And since Marie bought 12 pieces of fruit, that's important information. It means if we took our apples and we added the oranges and our pineapple, we would get 12. Okay, so again, the X is your apples. Your X minus 5 is your oranges. And then your 1 is just your pineapple. Okay, so we combine them all, we add them all together, and we get 12. We can solve for X. We use DC Mam, so now we're combining our like terms. X plus X is 2X. A negative 5 and a positive 1 is a negative 4, and that's going to equal 12. All right, now we have our equation. It's easy to solve for X. We add 4 to both sides. 2X is equal to 16, and then we divide by 2. Our X is 8. Okay, so I go back here and I say I've got 8 apples. Well, how many oranges would I have? 8 minus 5. Okay, so we put in 8 minus 5, and that's how we get 3. And 1 pineapple. Do they add up to 12? 8, 3 is 11. 1 is, yep, it does. So the question's asking how many apples and how many oranges did Marie buy? 8 apples and 3 oranges. And that would be your answer. All right, let's look at number 2. Cucumbers cost $1 each and tomatoes cost $2 each. Mom buys 6 more tomatoes than cucumbers. Her total bill is $36. Find out how many tomatoes and cucumbers that Mom bought. So, let's see, do we know? We know that Mom buys 6 more tomatoes than cucumbers, okay? So, let's let X be the cucumbers. And if X is the cucumbers, Mom bought 6 more tomatoes, so our tomatoes would be X plus 6. Okay, so if cucumbers cost $1 each, okay, that means we don't know how many cucumbers we bought, okay, but since they're $1, it's like saying 1 times however many we bought. We don't usually write 1x, but let's do it for purposes of understanding the money, okay, and then tomatoes were $2 each, so that's 2 times X plus 6. We've got to keep that in parentheses. So tomatoes would be X plus 6, and it's $2, okay, for every tomato, and that's going to be $36 in total, okay. So now I'm just going to distribute that too, and I'm going to combine my like terms. I'm going to subtract my constant. My 3x is going to be 24, and when I divide by 3, my x is going to be 8. That means I bought 8 cucumbers, and then I plug in 8 plus 6, and I get 14 tomatoes. So my answer is 8 cucumbers and 14 tomatoes. Okay, let's look at number 3. Jack is 25 years younger than his mother. Together their ages add up to 89. Find each of their ages. Okay, well, let's start with our let statement. Do we know how old Mom is? Nope, we don't. So let's let M be equal to mother's age. If M is mother's age, Jack's age would be, Jack is 25 years younger, so we take Mom's age and subtract 25, and that would be Jack's age. All right, together their ages add up to 89. So if we take Mom's age and then we add in Jack's age, that's how we would get 89. Okay, remember this is Mom and this is Jack, the expression that represents Jack's age. Now we just combine our like terms and we add 25 to each side to add or subtract the constant. All right, so when we do that, we get 2m is equal to 114, and then we divide by 2. Mom is going to be 57. Okay, so Mom is 57, and then Jack would be 57 minus 25, so Jack would be 32. It says to find each of their ages, so Mom is 57, Jack is 32. Okay. Looking at number 4, the sum of 3 consecutive integers is 165. What is the largest number? Well, consecutive is important that you understand that. Consecutive means one after the other. So 1, 2, and 3 would be consecutive. 7, 8, 9 would be consecutive. 101, 102, 103 would be consecutive. Okay, we have an infinite number of consecutive integers. Okay, what is the largest number? Okay, so we don't know. Let's start out and say let x be the first number. Okay, so we know we have 3 numbers. If x is the first number, then x plus 1 would be the second number. I don't know what the first number is, but relative to the first number, we would have the second number, and then we could get the third number. All right, if we take the sum, we're adding. We would take the first, we would add the second and the third, and we would get 165. Remember, this is the first. This expression represents the second, and this represents the third. We just add them together. Now we combine our like terms. We get 3x's plus 3 is 165. We subtract a 3 from both sides. 3x is going to be equal to 162. And then we divide by 3. Okay, our x is going to be equal to 54. Okay, so our first number is 54, the second number is 55, and the third number is 56. So the question's asking what is the largest number. Be careful you don't circle 54 because the answer is actually the largest number, which is 56. Okay. All right, moving on to number 5. Number 5, it says the second of 2 numbers is 4 times the first. The sum, their sum is 45. Find the numbers. Okay, so we're finding the numbers. Let's let f be the first number. If f is the first number, the second of 2 numbers is 4 times the first, so we're just going to let the expression 4f be the second number. Okay, their sum means we add it, so we take the first and the second, and we get 45. So this doesn't seem to be too hard of a problem. F plus 4f is 5f, and then we simply divide by 5, and we get f is equal to 9. So we're finding the numbers. The first number would be 9, and the second number would be 4 times 9, which would be 36. Okay. And that would be our answer. All right, looking at number 6. 7 times the sum of a number and 4 is the same as 8 decreased by 3 times the number. Find the number. Okay, so it sounds like a riddle. So let's let n be equal to the number that we're finding. Let's try to break this apart. So 7 times the sum of a number and 4. All right, remember when we take the sum of the number and 4, we've got to put it in parentheses because we're multiplying it by 7. 7 times that sum is the same as, is equal to 8 decreased by 3 times the number. Okay, 8 decreased to subtraction, and 3 times the number would be 3n. So we can put it together like this. And now we simply use our knowledge of solving equations and we distribute. Okay, we move the variable, so we're going to add 3n to both sides. When we do that, we get 10n plus 28 is equal to 8. And then I'm going to subtract my 28 from both sides. So 10n is going to be equal to negative 20. We then divide by 10, and our n is going to be equal to negative 2. So the number is negative 2. All right, so next you should work on your homework. The homework is the study guide for the test. We're going to review next class, and the test on A day will be 9/28, and on B days will be Wednesday the 29th. Thanks. Bye.